My name is Angie Obwaka and welcome to CITAM Church Online. So the last couple of weeks we have been looking at the power of yes. When you get God's backing and that yes being the most important. Last week we talked about what happens when you face opposition along the journey in pursuing the yes, and that the fact that you have to keep building. But what happens when the game changes or the play changes in between you pursuing this yes? The story of Abraham comes to mind. So Abraham been trusting, him and his wife have been trusting God for a son. Eventually God promises the son comes, his name is Isaac, and God is helping Abraham and Sarah to be able to raise this child. And then at some point God asks Abraham to sacrifice Isaac, the gift, the very promise that God had given him. The yes that God had given Abraham, God asks him to lay it on the altar. And so Abraham, knowing that it was God's yes and God's determination for this thing to happen, Abraham now goes to the mountain and he's going to sacrifice his son. He sets aside the distractions and the things that could limit him, which is the servants and the people who could be asking questions, and they get to the top of this mountain. But you know, one of the things that intrigues me often is the fact that Abraham needed to continually hear from God not to kill his son Isaac. Yes, God had asked for the sacrifice of his son, but God's intention was to check and test Abraham's trust and faith in him, in God. And so, in as much as God had given the direction for this particular assignment, for this particular thing, it was important for Abraham to be attentive, to have the art, quote unquote, of listening, to be discerning, to be close to the voice of God, so that at the point when God changed the play of the game, of the assignment, of what he was doing in the moment, Abraham could hear. And so, just as the Bible records, as he lifted up the knife ready to sacrifice his son, God says, stop, 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 look in the bushes, there's a ram that has been provided. And that's where we get the name Jireh, or Jehovah Jireh, the Lord who provides. And so even as you pursue the yes that God has given you, as you pursue and build the assignment and build the work, the responsibility, the family that God has given you, will you practice the art of listening to the voice of God actively, moment by moment, day by day, just so that you hear what is the instruction for today, what is the instruction for this week, for this season? God, how would you want me to navigate this particular place? Because it's not one and done, that God has said this is the thing we're doing and now we don't consult him. We must stay close to him. And so the greatest art of listening is being able to discern the voice of God even as you execute God's yes in your life. I pray that God will help you to pay close attention to what he's saying even as you partner with him in whatever area he has called you to. God bless you. We'll see you next week on CITAM Church Online.